refining our curriculum. In the middle school, in the 8th grade, I challenged the teachers to revise their curriculum to be more universally accessible. So there was some hesitation on it, but I knew that these teachers, this partner teacher in the CLA program are very dedicated to issues of justice and diversity. And so I just framed my challenge to them in thinking about how do you integrate this with social studies and hold on to this theme of equity and diversity and access for everybody. And so they selected some topics that they felt were, 8th grade is kind of like access to the potential of America as citizens, right? And so they thought about what are some impediments to that access. And they thought of the entering into the criminal justice system, access to education, being an immigrant, linguistic access, socioeconomic access, so that the kids then we bought a bunch of books, and the teachers found articles and TED Talks and all kinds of things for the kids to explore these topics. So the kids then self-selected into topics, and regardless of their reading level, the kids were so engaged in the topics. The kids who were very resistant to ideas about equity and access were actually picking up nickel and dimed and reading it by choice and engaging with the ideas. And those were like maybe kids who are higher level readers, but the lower level, the students who struggle academically were also really able to engage with the ideas, partly because of the partner work, partly because they got to pick topics about which they were passionate. There was a lot of different modes of gaining information. And then the kids, they had to write an essay because in middle school you have to write essays. But they also produced an art project along with this so that they had different modes of presentation. And then they went into social issues book clubs that were aligned with this same topic. So the kids went into the social issues having already had lots of conversations about the real, like the nonfiction parts of the problem. So that was like really powerful. The kids loved it. The teachers felt very successful and they were able to model their passions and curiosities with the kids and do a lot of teaching into it because the curriculum matched who the kids are and who the teachers are. So we found like a real sweet spot in the topics that were then very about, there were lots of resources that would allow us to make them accessible. Is very Common Core. I mean, the kids were reading they were reading very complex texts. They were doing close readings of texts. They were reading across texts. They were writing argumentative essays. They were doing all of that work that's in the Common Core, but they were doing it in a way that was powerful for the teachers and the kids, and the teachers had ownership over it. Like I could give them an Engage NY or whatever those curriculum and just say, go follow this. But I'm deprofessionalizing them when I do that. I can say, here's a unit, here's another unit. Let's look at these and see how can we take what's here to create this work. But I think it's really got to come from the teachers, and it's a really slow process. Like that was our fifth class of 8th graders where we finally found this spot that was working. So I think it's about patience and time and respecting teachers for the professionals they are. And when you respect them for the professionals they are, you can raise your level of expectations for them.